Hey Top Shelfers, welcome back to Behind the Bar, where we make historical cocktails that are enjoyed every day. Today, what I have for you is a cocktail known as White Cargo. The recipe comes from 1930 in a particular recipe book that has then been adapted as it's gone throughout time. Our current recipe comes from Just Cocktails, that wonderful book that we love to reference so much on this show. And this drink is very simple, but it is delicious. It is a dessert drink, particularly for the more, I guess you could say, indulgent occasions. So let's get started with our glass. This is going to go into a martini glass that we are then going to chill. Now, as all things with our classic cocktails, we want to make sure that we can chill down these glasses, but we're going to do it the old way. We could throw this into a refrigerator and let it sit, but why not go with what's old? Because let's be real, this is top shelf history, and we want to focus a little bit more on the history here. So into our glass is going to go some ice. That is then going to be filled up with water, and this is going to keep our glass nice and chilled while we make the cocktail. And this particular cocktail may take a little bit longer to make than others. So having our ice water concoction to chill down our glass is going to be very important here if we want a cold glass for the cocktail to go into. So we're going to put this off to the side, and then we are going to start off our drink. We have our shaker ready, and this drink, like I said, very simple. Only 3 ingredients. We're going to start out with 1 jigger of aviation gin, because it calls for standard gin. Now, it doesn't say dry gin, so I assume that we want a non-dry gin, which means that we don't want something that's going to be very flowery on the back end of your palate. Instead, it's going to have that nice juniper flavor and will continue to provide that sweetness. So we're going to put in 1.5 ounces as a jigger is measured in that book. So we're going to pour this on in. Aviation's a great American style gin as well, Ryan Reynolds' company, but you can use any gin as long as it's not a dry gin, so Bombay Sapphire would be the picture. Next, we're going to follow that up with what calls for 2 teaspoons of Chardonnay. Now, it says white wine in our recipe, but when I was looking at other cocktail recipes with White Cargo, they call for Chardonnay. I think that's what's going to play the best here. There's a little bit more sweetness and not as much of a dry aftertaste as you would get, let's say, with a Pinot Grigio or perhaps a Sauvignon Blanc. So I think Chardonnay is going to go well with the sweet flavors that we're building here. After all, this is a dessert style drink. So we have about 2 teaspoons here. I've misplaced my teaspoon measurement, but that's okay. We're just going to eyeball this a little bit. There we go. Maybe a little bit more than 2 teaspoons, but that's okay. We've got a lot of sweetness going in here, so being able to separate that out with a little bit more booziness is going to be necessary, at least in my opinion. Next, it calls for a jigger, or 1.5 ounces of vanilla ice cream. Now, I could scoop this out, but in order for me to get the perfect scoop, in my opinion, we got to go with scooping with our jigger. It's going to be a very interesting experience, but I'm bringing you guys along with me. So we've got standard vanilla ice cream. You can use an expensive ice cream if you want this to be more of a exclusive cocktail, I guess you could say. You can always use more expensive ingredients, but I figured for our White Cargo, let's go with what is affordable. So we're just going to scoop this on out. It's nice and easy to scoop out. And then we're going to use our bar spoon to encourage our ice cream out of our jig and into our glass. So I left, as you guys could tell, I could leave some space in there, so which is good because that measures out to about 2 ounces on my jig. So with the space that we have left in there, I think this will come out to around 1.5 ounces as is called. Next, what we want to do is we want to throw on our top and we're going to shake. Now it says for us to shake until it is melted. There is no ice here. We do not want to throw any ice. We want the ice cream to melt. The ice cream will then chill down everything else. So one thing that we can do here is that we can actually take off our spring on our strainer, and when we do that, this will rather messily take this off. This will make sure that everything is shaken properly in our drink. So we're just going to take that and throw that spring in there. That way we can shake this up and it can get some nice mixing without any ice. You can do this also when you introduce cream into your cocktails as well. So now we shake until it's nice and melted. And the thing here is that you have to do this a lot on feel. Since the ice cream is getting melted, we have to see exactly how much weight is being thrown around in there. Know how much weight your spring is, and then know how much weight the ice cream is. If it continues to feel solid as it's going back and forth, then we still got some melting to do. So we're going to continue to shake. Feels pretty good now. I think we're about at all liquid. Let me check in there. And yes, our ice cream is nice and melted, so we're all finished making this. We're going to take this out, our long spring, put that off to the side. Oh, nope, I was wrong. We still have a little bit in there, so I'm actually going to throw this back in and then finish mixing here really quick. So fumble around with that. We don't want any lumps in our cocktails. Lumpy cocktails aren't good. You don't have to do this as fast as me. I just like to get really energetic. All right, I think we are good now. Let me check. Yes, that all looks liquid. Grab my strainer. Throw it off to the side. It smells beautiful. We're going to then take this and we're going to pour this out. Spill a little bit. That's okay. It's just water and ice, so no worries there. Put that there. And then next we are going to strain. Actually, considering what's in our drink, we actually don't need a strainer, which is why we could disassemble our strainer here so we could use it as a shaker. So we can actually remove this. This is all going to come out as one collective piece. Ready? And there it is, and that looks absolutely lovely. I can see why they call it white cargo. That is snow white. Our coaster's a little wet there, but that's okay. That looks absolutely stunning, guys. I can't wait to try it. Let's give it a taste. That's interesting. I actually think I put in a little bit too much Chardonnay here. I would cut back, definitely use your teaspoons. Don't eyeball it like I did. But it's really quite nice. The ice cream is very subtle. The most major flavor, I would say, in this cocktail is the gin followed by the Chardonnay, and then you have that slight creaminess on the back end. Not at all how I expected this to be. It's not overly sweet at all. Like I said, definitely measure out your drink because the Chardonnay is by far the most potent flavor in mine. But it's very good, very balanced, nice and creamy. We don't have any separation of the ice cream at all, so this has been shaken well. Make sure that you use your spring here to make sure that that continues, because if you just stir it or if you don't shake it properly, then it's going to separate the milk into curdles. So we don't want that. Like I said, nobody wants a chunky cocktail. It's a very good, very tasty dessert cocktail that isn't overly sweet. But there you have it, guys, the white cargo.